Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from cloudy, beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, and purposeful coach and speaker in the world. Storytime Saturday. For those of you that didn't get to tune in to our first Storytime Saturday last week called Give My Car Away, in which I tell the story of when I gave a car away. This week, we switch the recipients and the givers. Been in real estate 19 years, and when we went through the crash in 07, 08, Angela and I were really kind of at the peak of our game. At a phenomenal place that we loved, church-wise, a phenomenal place, business-wise, a phenomenal place, family-wise. I believe there was 5 of the 7 kids this time. Phenomenal place, just bought our dream home, dream stuff. I mean, chasing the American dream, living it, having it all, doing all that we could possibly do, excited as all get out and grateful for everything that was happening, and the market crashed. And when it did, buyers were unable to qualify for homes because the lending regulations became increasingly tight and almost overnight. We had 19 transactions under contract to close November and December and the first week of January, and all 19 of those contracts fell through. The lending requirements changed for the buyers buying my seller's properties in the middle of the transaction, and all 19 did not go through. And let me tell you something, things shut down and we were in bad shape. All it took was about 4 or 5 months to run out of everything that you've saved. We had a huge falling out, the church that we loved, lots of controversy and drama that occurred there. We were in the process of losing everything, losing our health, losing our faith, losing our business, losing our home. Starting all over. Let me tell you a little something that happened one night. We were too proud, really, at one point to ask for help. We were down to about $18. Now, I say we're down to $18. I'm not talking about with X in savings. I'm talking $18. Down to $18. And at that time, we were coming home from a church service that night. And we were both distraught. Incredibly, incredibly distraught. Because we had just discovered we were out of diapers. As if we weren't stressed out enough. Now, we've been doing Dave Ramsey for years and years and years, so we didn't have credit cards for probably 15 years, pay cash for everything. So when we drained, I mean, we were in a bad way. Foreclosure notice, business had shut down. You know, people weren't buying and selling. They were selling very few, only those that really had to. People couldn't qualify. The big falling out that we had at the church that we were at, it was just a train wreck in our lives, and we were broken on all fronts. And I remember one night coming home from church, because we both had tears in our eyes, our children were asleep in the back coming home from a service, and she said, "What are we going to do, Steve? We've been able to fight through time after time after time, and yet we're down to $18. And I said what I've said for years, baby, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to work my butt off, and I'm going to come home to you and the kids. I'm just going to do a lot more of it at work. I'm going to call 10 times as many people, talk to 10 times as many people, do the very best that I can." And we came home that night not knowing how we were going to sleep because we were so broken. Well, when we pulled up, our dream house that we did lose was at the very back of a acreage type community, very dark, and there was a vehicle in our driveway, no lights. It concerned us. We weren't sure what had happened or who it could be. It was very suspect to us. So we both looked very carefully, drove up, and that's when I could tell there was a man and woman and children in there. I felt a little bit better. We parked the car and we got out to go see who it was. Now remember, appearances will steer there. People did not know. You know, I was still a highly successful real estate agent in a phenomenal Mediterranean stucco house. beautiful cars, all of that stuff that we were losing. I mean, it was a miracle, and I'm grateful to San Antonio Water Systems and City Public Service for being open to negotiations to keep lights and water on, and the miracle of me negotiating with the telephone company to keep that running to make money. At the end of our sales, no one knew what we were experiencing, and there was a young family that we recognized from church, and this was about 10 o'clock at night, and they said, "Steve, Angela, we don't want to be offensive to you in any way. We don't want to offend you. But what we want you to know is, on our way home from church tonight, we couldn't go home because my wife and I both felt strongly impressed that the Lord wanted us to drive to your house and give you $1,000 check. We don't know why. We know that's probably not much, but we just want to be obedient." Angela and I wept. On our staircase after putting the kids to bed that night. Because we'd been giving, and we'd given and given and given and given. And when this came to us, that $1,000 check may as well have been a check for $10 million. Because you see, it wasn't about the amount. It was about that we have a Heavenly Father that knew and heard, saw our faith, responded to our faith, touched other people who in their own way were incredibly blessed for giving. And we got to make it through another season. More where these came from. I hope you enjoy it and have a great Saturday.